Hello and welcome to today's liveconfident.com live stream. And today I want to discuss with you one of my own favourite strategies. And I call it walking the giant within. Now, I don't want any libel suits from Tony Robbins' team. I know and Tony has a book called Unleashing the Giant Within, or Releasing the Giant Within, something like that. But this is very different. Okay, this is just one simple strategy to change your mindset, to change your perspective in one quick go. Now, if you're a sloucher, then you're going to benefit greatly from this. Now, when I was young, I was always getting told to sit up straight or stand up straight or stop slouching or some variation of these sentences. And I was hearing that probably well into my early 20s, at which point I actually did decide to do something about it. But when I did, it took almost 2 years, I would say, to actually get rid of my slouch, because it's a subconscious act. You're doing it without thinking about it, and if you're doing it without thinking about it, then how can you change it? How can you correct it? So you have to do it a little bit at a time. Whenever you catch yourself doing it, whenever you suddenly think about doing it, whenever that slouch comes into your conscious awareness. Let me give you an example. Where are you right now? Are you sitting down? Think about the pressure of the seat on your back, wherever you're sitting, or your feet resting on the ground. Now, until I told you to put your attention on the sensation of the chair against your back, it was below your conscious awareness, and now it's being raised into your conscious awareness. And it's the same with slouching. You have to catch those moments when it gets raised into your conscious awareness, and when it happens, you have to grab it, and that's when you use the walking with the giant within strategy. And it's basically this. Let's say you're walking down the street, there's other people around in the street, and you suddenly realise, I'm slouching, I'm hunched over, I'm hoovering up the ground. And if you're a person with shyness or social anxiety, you know what I'm talking about here. I mean, we're very good at looking at the ground and not being able to meet other people's eyes. And I used to do this all the time. I couldn't go anywhere without hoovering up the ground. If there was money on the ground, I found it, because that's where my eye line was all the time. And slouching is a subconscious act as well, to make yourself smaller, and so that people don't notice you. So if you're in a room, in a bar, at a social occasion or gathering or wherever it is, and you're hunching, you're subconsciously telling the room you don't want to be approached. You're trying to make yourself look small so that nobody addresses you. So the giant within is really the reverse of the slouch strategy. So what you do, let's put you back in the pavement. You're walking down the street and you realise you're slouching. So all you're doing, it's as simple as this. You straighten up your posture. You raise up your chin so that your eye line is straight in front of you. And if you want a different way of actually doing this, then there's a strategy from Paul McKenna in one of his books. And he simply said, imagine there's a golden thread running through your body, and mentally tug that golden thread and bring your body and your whole posture up straight. Do that if you like, or simply remember to straighten your posture. And it's not a difficult act. All we do is straighten up and get rid of the slouch in our shoulders. Raise your eye line. And if you are a sloucher, if you are used to this level of your eye line because you spent years walking with a slouch, then raising your posture up, correcting your posture, is going to raise your eye line to here. And it doesn't matter if you raise it by a little bit or you raise it by a lot. You're still going to see the world from a new perspective, even if it's just a little bit higher than it was before. And this works equally if you're 5 foot tall or you're almost 6 foot tall like I am. You're still going to see a new perspective of your environment. And when you do that, because it doesn't stop there, you don't just walk up straight. I mean, that if that was it, then you'll be throwing the rotten fruit at me by now. So walking the giant within you also do it in your mind. You imagine your environment, because most of us, when we're walking, we've got our attention on one point, whether it's on the ground or in the middle distance, or it's in the far distance. Your attention is focused on one point. But if you suddenly bring your entire environment into your line of vision, I mean, you can do it right now. You can instead of focusing on one point, you can see the entire room around you right now, including your peripheral view, and you can see everything, and you can feel everything. And if you're walking with a raised eye line, then you feel yourself a giant. Imagine yourself as being a giant. Suddenly you can see everything around you, and you're a little bit taller, and just tell yourself and imagine to yourself that you're a giant among all these other people that are suddenly a lot smaller, and you're this giant walking among them. I mean, they'll have no idea what's going on in your mind at that moment in time. They won't care. But for you, you've got an entire different perspective going on at that moment in time, and it probably only lasts for a few seconds, or you might be able to keep it going for half a minute. But every time you think of it, every time you think to do it, then do it, and more you'll be able to remember to do it. As you get into the habit of raising your body language, your posture, and imagining your environment, imagining that you're a giant. I mean, if there's a skyscraper somewhere, in your environment, imagine you're as tall as that skyscraper, or you're as tall as the tallest building in your environment. You're a giant, and you're looking down at all the small people around you. And it might sound stupid, but it actually does work. It's not something you can really put into words without sounding a little bit silly about it. So you really do have to try it for yourself, and imagine yourself as a giant. And at the same time that you're doing that, you're changing your body chemistry, and you're feeling more confident. I mean, you've probably heard people say, if you've got a frown, turn it upside down. I mean, if you're feeling sad or blue or groomy, there's a new word, grumpy, and you've got a frown on your face, and you try and smile, it's a very hard thing to do, because you just don't want to do it right. But if you force yourself into a smiling, I think there's hundreds of muscles involved in doing this, but if you force yourself to smile, then suddenly you feel different. It releases a different set of chemistry within you, endorphins, the happy feelings or whatever. Suddenly you're feeling different. I mean, if you're feeling grumpy and sad, you probably don't want to feel good, and you won't smile because you don't want to smile. But the point is, if you did smile, then you would be forced to feel a little bit different. And it's the same when you change your slouch to a real confident upright posture. You feel different because you changed your body language, and you cannot help but feel more confident. And that's the whole point. If you couple that feeling of confidence with the feeling or the imagination of being a giant, and imagining being able to see the whole environment at the same time, and coupled it with a new raised eye line, put it all together, and you're really going to feel different. You're going to feel a huge surge of confidence for that amount of time that you're able to keep it up. Like I say, you won't be able to keep it up for long. It will subside. But the next time you remember to do it, the next time you catch yourself slouching, do it again. And imagine yourself being a giant, walking the giant within, and you'll enjoy it, you'll like it. And I guess that's all I've got to share with you for this session. It is a strategy that I enjoy doing myself, and so I thought I would share that with you. Okay, until next time, let's do this again in a few days' time.